In today's video, we're going to talk about Toronto condo buildings that I think are great fits for first-time home buyers. That's right. These condos we're going to go through in today's video, I think are pretty good options for first-time home buyers exclusively. Whether you're a bachelor living alone, a young working professional, or a couple looking to take the next step. These buildings, I think, capture the perfect mix of what first-time home buyers are looking for in terms of a certain degree of excitement, a certain degree of youth, centrality, heavy amenities, but at the same time, they're not hotels, they're not flooding with Airbnbs or actually flooding with real water. You get the excitement with a certain degree of stability. Not all your neighbors are retirees or homeowners or, boomers, but at the same time, these are not condos that are the cream of the crop per se, and at an affordable price tag suited for first-time home buyers. So this is not going to be a list of condos that are the best buildings per se, just good enough that it's worth your while for a first step to enter the market. So let's start. Number one on the list, probably the first thing that came to my mind when I was going through this list for this video, 38 Inuzi. This is a building we've discussed in the past on this channel. Location-wise, Bathurst and Lakeshore, so not extremely central, but still pretty central. I mean, it is downtown Toronto after all. It's a very well-connected city. Heavy amenities, great bike storage, great gym, and there's a lot of people coming and going. There's a certain degree of youth and excitement in this building, but it's managed pretty well. Occasional issues with elevator outages and such, but that comes with the territory with these buildings. Affordable price point. I've purchased several units in this building for my lovely buyers and they're very satisfied. It's better than a lot of Liberty Village buildings. A lot of people who want to buy in Liberty Village, I tell them, hey, buy here, then you'll be close to Liberty Village. You'll just be in the outskirts of it. Next up, let's go a little bit further east than downtown, but not too far east. We're talking about 11 Brunel, a building I've talked about many times on this channel. It's a bit on the older side compared to the other buildings, but they've been recently renovated, the lobbies and everything. And once again, much of the same applies here. It's really good for a first-time home buyer. It does have its fair share of tenants, but they maintain things pretty well. And the same thing applies to the next building on this list, which is just across diagonally, 15 Fort York. 15 Fort York as well, I would say maybe a little bit pricier than 11 Brunel, maybe a little bit more end user inclined than 11 Brunel. There's nothing wrong with that, obviously we like that. But much like 11 Brunel, 15 Fort York, I think is really suitable for a lot of first-time home buyers, both in terms of location, 11 Brunel and 15 Fort York, in CityPlace. Only two of the few CityPlace condos I would recommend for clients. There's a couple more I've discussed in the past. You can check that video out. I will link it probably in the description or on the screen as well. The only CityPlace condos I recommend, and these two are part of that list. Once again, not your forever home buildings, but pretty affordable in terms of price per square foot for their location, especially in a down market such as today. I mean, right now there's a lot of great buying opportunities at the time of recording of this video. Who knows if you're watching this in 2028? Who knows if we're still around or not? But right now, these first-time homebuyer friendly buildings have a lot of discounted prices happening in them. The only issues really, for instance, with 11 Brunel that could be brought up is the elevator outages occasionally. And some floor plans are on the older side, so you might find some units that need work. That also applies to 15 Fort York, some outdated finishes in those buildings, sometimes made carpet per se. And then you have certain units that might face the school if you're lower to the ground. If it faces the school right next to it, it could be a lot of noise, but that's really minor around the edges. Another building on this list that I think is pretty first-time homebuyer friendly, and this is probably of all the buildings on this list, is the one that is both really first-time homebuyer friendly and then really family friendly as well. It is 28 Linden Avenue, the St. James Mansion at Sherbourne. It's downtown east. The area is a little bit more, for some people, a bit more sketchier than other areas we've discussed. Ultimately, my own opinion as a person, I'm very flexible in terms of location area. At the end of the day, it's Toronto. If you think Toronto is not safe by worldwide standards, then you haven't traveled in North America, let alone the world. But anyways, I do believe that 28 Linden might not be everyone's cup of tea in terms of location, but the building itself, affordable, really first-time home buyer friendly in the sense that the smaller, more affordable units, the junior one beds, have proper beds, and they actually have a lot of functional layouts. It might be a little bit too on the quiet side, and the amenities are not by downtown standards, these expansive, immersive amenities, but it does a great job job mixing the heritage with the new modern Tridel standard. Concierge always really helpful. The management always on top of things. So yeah, yet another building that I recommend for my first time Toronto home buyers. Next up, another set of Toronto condo buildings that I think are really good options for a lot of first-time home buyers, and I have purchased units in for a lot of my first-time home buyers, are 51 Lower Simcoe and 25 Lower Simcoe. In both these buildings, and a lot of other buildings on this list that I talk about, I'm not just talking from, you know, the seat. I have purchased and sold in these buildings. I have visited these buildings, and these buildings are really perfectly suited for a first-time home buyer. Location-wise, fantastic. I mean, right next to the Rogers Center, right next to the CN Tower, all the tourist attractions. At the same time, you're not that far away from King Street West, the entertainment district of the city, close to front, and really good, suitable first-time home buyer options. Great concierge, great management. The concierge in 51 Lower Simcoe on the weekends, there's one guy there that can be a little bit off-putting, but he's a nice guy if you actually talk to him, but he can be a little bit too much. But besides that, the point still stands for the most part, really helpful front desk staff. And the layouts have proper islands, even the cheaper, more affordable units, which is the target demographic of this video, because you are a first-time home buyer. And if you are a first-time home buyer, by the way, a quick pause, get in touch with me. My link is in the bio. Set up a chat. You can easily set up a chat anytime. I'll be happy to help. But the point stands that these two buildings, 51, 25 Lower Simcoe, are really suitable first-time home buyer options. Now, 25 is probably a little bit pricier, a little bit newer. It's not the premium and luxury of all luxury, but comparing it to 51 Lower Simcoe, it's a little bit more updated and more refreshed. And there's a trick where the underground parking of all these buildings are shared. It's definitely much better than, I would say, the other building. And there's a quirk where if you actually get down the line in terms of purchasing a unit, hopefully with yours truly, and we do a status of certificate search on these properties, and we see that in the status of certificate, parking spots for 51 and 25 Lower Simcoe actually belong to another tower. But this is all because all these towers share the underground parking. In this case, it's 25 Grand Trunk. And just to be clear, I like 51 and 25 Lower Simcoe much more than the Grand Trunk building. Moving forward, let's shift all the way to Etobicoke. 251 Manitoba. The reason I really like 251 Manitoba, besides, and this is gonna sound hilarious, but it's just true, there was a murder, I think, in the beginning of the building, in that building, in 2020, 2021. So as ridiculous as this sounds, besides the homicide that occurred early on in that building's life, it's a really good building and really suitable for first-time home buyers. It is removed, it is in Mimico, it's not in downtown, but still you have a very, very lively building with heavy amenities, but it has that community sense, right? It has enough feel of a community that at the same time doesn't transition into being a college dorm room. It is a mid to low rise. The track and the park is right there for people who love to run. Affordable as all hell. I mean, there's so much internal competition. I've talked about this building on this channel before, dedicated a video or two to it. The listing overload, especially for ones and 1+1s, you can get a lot of cheap affordable units in these buildings in the mid 500s, even for 2 bedrooms in the low 600s. And it's, I would say, superior than the other Manitoba buildings, 200, 250. And then you have the Legion Road buildings, 165 and 175. Those are their own story. Rather, sorry, 155 and 165. Those have their own quirks too. But above all, in this really immediate vicinity, you have like 6 towers almost, right? And I think 251 Manitoba is the best of all these 6. This is not even commenting on the buildings by Marine Parade or Lakeshore, right? We're not talking about the park lawns, the Marine Parades, the Annie Craigs. We're going to talk about Annie Craigs quickly, but not when it comes to these 6 towers I'm referring to right now. This building will have you walking though, because the hallways are pretty long. It is a Siamese building, as dual elevator system, right? Certain units are, you have to go to the left side, certain units you have to go to the right side, but the lobby is beautiful. I mean, for my interior design taste, I love the lobby. Now, if you look at it, you think it's ugly, then that's a reflection of my taste, but I find the decor and the atmosphere in the lobby to be pretty nice. Let's swing to North York. We're going to talk about the McMahon Drive buildings, namely 113 to 117 McMahon Drive. These are the oldest McMahon Drive buildings. I broke down this entire stretch of McMahon Drive buildings at Shepherd and Leslie in another video. I'm going to link to that video as well. It should pop up on the screen. This is like Concord's master plan community in North York. And I was a little bit ambivalent about these buildings in the beginning. And that's why I'm saying that these are not the best buildings I'm listing, right? These are just really good options for getting your foot through the door. And I think for North York standards, if you're really into heavy amenities and can stomach a little bit of elevator wait times, maybe some odors and smells in the hallway, 115, 117 McMahon is a good transitory option. It's also really tenant friendly. I would probably have to say a little bit more tenant friendly, but I would say that if you're looking for heavy amenities in North York at Shepherd and Leslie, and you want something affordable, and want to take advantage of a new community center close to the subway station, then I would recommend this 115 and 117 McMahon Drive. You have a basketball court, a bowling alley, huge gym, and relative to the other McMahon Drive buildings, it is not as pricey, it is more affordable. Obviously, it's not the best building at this intersection. You already know, long-time viewers of this channel know, best building at this intersection, I'm not even gonna name it because it's one of my favorite buildings, but it's not affordable by any means. But tell me in the comments if you know which building I'm talking about. Let's swing back to downtown. Let's talk about 50 Ordnance. 50 Ordnance and 30 Ordnance are probably one of my favorite buildings in Liberty Village. You guys know I don't have many of the favorite buildings in Liberty Village, but 30 and 50 Ordnance actually have really good affordable 2-bedroom layouts for downtown standards. Obviously you can find cheaper 2-bedrooms in the older Western Battery buildings in Liberty Village, but I actually like 30 and 50 Ordnance more. Once again, you have the amenities. It is youthful, it is lively, sometimes to a fault, but that is going to be the territory for this list, right? These are, once again, as I said, first-time home buyer properties for younger individuals getting involved in the market, getting in at a good time. Most of these buildings, you will have a little bit of commotion, but the point is not too much. And that's the thing with 30 and 50 Ordnance. I think it has that lively feature, but it's not too much commotion like some other buildings in Liberty Village. But this building does have a hidden rule. I actually created a video on this. The hidden rule is you have to, for some odd reason, where Lulu sets all the time, have 2 small dogs and do Pilates. I mean, everyone, every woman I've seen in this building has like 2 dogs and probably has some charms and dream catchers in their primary bedroom. There's nothing wrong with that. But hey, if you're into Pilates and you're a young individual, this is the building for you, especially if you love Lululemon. Or if you're a guy out there who's really into women who do Pilates, this is the building for you as well. But it's not fault-free, right? It has its issues. The point is that it's sufficient enough for a first-time home buyer. Back to downtown we go, 20 Minowan Miikan Lane. I've talked about this building before, so I'll keep it brief. Great location on Queen and King Street West by Dufferin. Great for first-time home buyers, especially first-time home buyers who are into the fashion scene or in the residential portions of Queen and King Street West. Especially if you're a hipster or into yoga, this building is really great for you. A sense of community truly exists in this building. It's not gonna blow you away, it's not gonna blow your mind. You might risk having a rowdy tenant here and there, and it is close to the trains. And some of the 1s and 1+1s do have that square-like feel with the sliding door bedroom. So if that's not a fit for you, that's not a fit for you. But you do get really good city views in some cases of the western side of the city, of the southern side of the city. You got the Metro there, you got a Food Basics there, you got a Shoppers, an LCBO, bank. It is also really close to the necessities along being close to, once again, more of a cultural fashion district with a lot of, $7, $8 coffees that you might find in this stretch of Queen Street and King Street West. Moving forward, another building I think is a really good fit for a lot of first-time home buyers is probably 20 Bruyeres Mews. Once again, with this building and also with a couple of other buildings I mentioned, namely 25 and 51 Lower Simcoe, the downside is sometimes you're going to be watching out for perhaps being too close to the Gardner. That is an issue. And traffic in this area can be a problem during rush hour, but ultimately it's downtown. Since the Gardner has been shut down, downtown traffic has been at an all-time worst. And I like 38 Anuzi, which is really close to it, a little bit better than this one. But still, having said that, it's still a pretty good fit for a lot of first-time home buyers. You have affordable floor plans, great floor plans for just an individual, just a bachelor, just a person living by themselves, comfortably living between 550 to 650 square feet. Decent management as well, and it is yet another building I would say is a good fit for a lot of first-time home buyers looking for downtown condos. Anyways, that was it, and I could keep going on. I could talk about condos that are really good for family-friendly condos, more bad downtown Toronto condos to avoid, or more bad Toronto condos to avoid. There's a lot I can talk about, but we have done enough in this video. Thank you very much for watching. Definitely subscribe if you enjoy this content or find it informative. Get in touch with me with any buying, selling, leasing inquiries. this. We have helped a lot of people from this channel, and we'll be happy to help more. Thanks, stay safe, and stay tuned. Thank you.